Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you guys doing? It is day 4 of our How to Go Raw series. And we have Luca with us this morning. Luca, how are you?
Hello, Kim. Thank you. And thank you guys for watching every single day. Thank you for making this decision for yourself. It's important to acknowledge what you're doing every single day for yourself, no matter how small you think the step is toward your healthier and happier lifestyle. It's literally a very big step in general, because we don't even see how these small steps lead us to something very big in the, let's say, after 2 to 5 years, especially 10 years. And they don't say for nothing that for example, what you do today, how you eat today, how you treat your body today will be your health in 5 years.
Very, very true. So, what are you guys thinking? Are you enjoying this series? Has anyone started transitioning to a raw food diet? I know a few of you have, and a few of you have said you've been going through detox, but hopefully, after our talk yesterday, you feel prepared to take that on. Again, we placed a document in the units tab that will help you understand what common or even a few uncommon detox symptoms are like. So make sure and look that up in the units tab, along with if you want to catch up or review any of the past videos from this week. Those also will be in the units tab on the Rejuvenate Raw with Kim group page. Oh, hi, everybody. It's so good to see so many of you back. Hi, Jan. Hi, Sheila. Raywin. So good to see so many of you. Peg, hi. So we're going to talk about something kind of fun, I think, especially for the women today. It's how to prepare our kitchen, how to shop, how to have food on hand. You know, because I've noticed as I've talked to a lot of people the last few years that one thing that stops people at the beginning from going raw is they just don't know where to start. Like, what kind of equipment do I buy? How do I shop for this? And how do I make sure I've got food to eat? So we're going to break it down a little bit today and make it a little bit easier. So when Luke and I first started talking about this, what we're discussing today, we decided off the bat that I would be the one to lead the talk on that. And you'll understand why after Luca explains his way of food preparation. So Luca, I'll let you take it away because I know it's not going to take very long.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's say, I'm a very simple guy and also a lazy guy in the sense of preparation for food, for meals or whatever. Especially like first when I went to this lifestyle, I thought to myself, well, what am I going to eat? Like only bananas or what? Because I was very picky in general, and also my meals before were only like meat, dairy, potatoes, rice, and like hot dogs, eggs. That's about it. Like those are all things that I actually ate. And afterwards, and the only fruit that I actually been eating during the years were bananas. Like literally only bananas. That was about it. So when I got to this journey, it was like, well, what am I gonna eat? Like only bananas? But then I started trying out fruits, like other fruits, this and that, and I started to like these things. But my will to preparate, like to prepare foods, to prepare some recipes, or like do something like that, and I was like, nah, no, I would just rather make me some smoothie with 2, 3 types of fruit, or like a bit of greens, or like just eat one type of thing, and that's it. Like that's literally it, and that's how I do. Like, for example, my refrigerator is literally empty. literally empty. Like all I have is outside on the counter, and that's fruits. Fruits I have only like in the freezer. Let's say I can have like frozen berries and stuff like that, you know, like whatever I can find fresh, then I buy frozen, but that's about it. After with that, I do my smoothies, I do whatever, I do juices. And it's really that simple for people who really don't like want to, let's say prepare and do the preparations and make the recipes like for example like Kim does, and like my mother does, and like, for those, you will probably like my approach because it doesn't take time at all. You just take it and eat it, or you just take it and put it in a blender, or you put it in a juicer. Okay, that takes more work to put it in a juicer, to like peel it off and like to clean it up after. But either way, it's really quick and simple. And I really like to focus my energy on a lot of different things that I'm like creating and doing, and just thinking about like investing my energy in recipes is not my thing. So I'm just gonna leave that talk to Kim, and I'm just gonna continue doing this until I actually start learning those recipes. And if I find them really also like simple and fun to do, then I will definitely maybe even start doing that as well.
All right. Okay, so now you guys are going to see how different Luca and I are as far as food prep. And I know once I get him over here in the United States, I'm going to transform him into a raw food chef because he's going to love my recipes so much. All right, so let's first talk about changing the equipment, changing the kitchen, getting some new equipment. When I first decided that raw food was the way to go, I just spent a whole day cleaning out my cabinets, completely changing where I put things. And, things like pots and pans, pot holders, they had to go. I wasn't going to use them anymore. And, this took a while because it's a transitioning thing. Like at the first, I started doing like Luca, juices and smoothies and that kind of thing. But when I expanded out into recipes, which was about 4 months after I started, man, I found a whole new world that I was really excited about. So, I took everything out of my pantry and fridge that wasn't on the diet. I either threw them away, I gave them away. If I wasn't sure if I was going to use some things, because it's one of those things that you start with the basics of getting rid of, and then later on you're like, well, I really haven't used that. I guess I don't need that either. But I started off by putting some things like downstairs in a pantry we had just in case, later on I don't want to use it. But for me, it was so important to get those things that I shouldn't be eating out of my kitchen. I didn't want anything to be really easy to grab. And because when they're far away or they're not there at all and you have to go to the store, and the raw food is there and it's handy, then you're going to be more inclined to eat the raw food. Do you guys agree with me? Especially when you live in a cold climate and going to the store is not very comfortable. Oh, heck, I'm just going to eat that piece of fruit. So I replaced all my empty cabinets and drawers with things like salad spinners, strainers for juice, a spiralizer, a mandolin. It's pretty exciting to be using all these new things. And it's really a mindset, you guys, because you can be like, oh man, this seems like a lot of work. I don't want to do this. Or you can be like, wow, this is really exciting. I'm ready for a change like this. I can't wait to learn something new. I love this food. I can't wait to make it. It's really how you choose to think about it. Luke is choosing to think he doesn't want to do it, but I think that's going to change. All right. So in choosing the right equipment, everyone needs to start off by deciding what this diet's going to look like for them. Luca knows what it looks like for him. He's just a basic guy. He really doesn't need much equipment except maybe making a smoothie. For other people, if they want to choose to make recipes, then, you know, of course, we're going to need a little more equipment. So I suggest, first of all, deciding what it's going to look like for you. And honestly, you guys, there's no right or wrong. There really isn't. It's really a personal choice what you want to do. Of course, when we're detoxing, we want to go more into the juices and smoothies and fruits and all of that. But, you know, we take breaks in there, and, you know, I'll do a 50-day juice fast, but then I'll go back and, hey, I'm going to fix some of my recipes and I'm going to love every minute of it. So anyway, you want to first decide what this raw diet is going to look like, okay? Whether you're going to be just basic or more advanced. And then you want to make a list of the equipment that you want to purchase. From there, you can do some research to select a brand that fits your style of raw food prep. Really, there's just so much information out there. I mostly look on reviews on Amazon and comparison websites. So if you put a little bit of time into it, it really isn't too difficult to choose your brand of equipment. And, you know, you can ask around, you can ask in my group, you know, what are you using for a food processor? And you'll get tons of answers, you know, and people tell you why. And that's the best way to choose your equipment. Okay, let's talk about the basics. So if you're making juices and smoothies, you really just need a couple things. You want a juicer, and you want a blender, and there's lots of different kinds of juicers, and there's different kinds of blenders. There's a regular counter blender, then there's the high-speed blender like a Vitamix, and I know it can get to be a lot. But the really cool thing is that in my book, in my Rejuvenate Raw with Kim recipe book, in the very beginning, it lists out what those kind of juicers are, what those blenders are, what they're for, and how they work, and talks about the nutrition value using the different kinds. So it's really, really a great resource. So I recommend, if you have that book, to start off by reading that instructional part in the beginning. It is really, really good. It gives you a lot of information, and it just gives you more confidence as you're creating your recipes. So if we take it to the next level, okay, to make salads. So you need like a salad spinner. I get a vegetable peeler. Of course, we need good knives. Knives are so, so important, good knives. And maybe a chopper, you know, to chop up some vegetables. So, I mean, at the bare minimum, you could get by with a knife. Seriously, I mean, you can make this as involved or easy, simple as you want to. So when we get more into the what we call gourmet raw recipes, these are things usually that, you know, are like the tacos and burritos and the wraps and all that. They're really fun food. You'll probably want to add a food processor and a dehydrator. And don't let it like overwhelm you. These things are really easy to use, and I explain all that in my book, how to use some of these things like a dehydrator. And of course, YouTube is a great resource. Like if you buy a particular brand, you can just go to YouTube and put in how to use it. That particular brand, and usually somebody's done a video on it, so it makes it super easy. So of course there's lots of other gadgets and appliances depending on how much you're planning on making recipes, and I've taken one whole page in my book and I've listed out the equipment needed for everything in my book, and so it's pretty much everything you're going to need to use on a raw food diet. But I want to say, like, I know everybody has a different budget, right? If your budget is pretty limited, don't worry, you can still do raw. You can do it as Luca does, simple. Just eat your fruit. You can do just a basic blender and make smoothies. You could start off with a less expensive juicer, like a centrifugal juicer. And that's what we did. We started off with pretty basic equipment. I think I had a bullet. You guys know what a bullet blender is, you know, the upside down NutriBullet. I still use them today. They're great for like mixing up nuts and small batches of things. And then we just had a plain old kitchen counter blender from Walmart, and it worked great. And the more I started doing recipes, I'm like, wow, I need this Vitamix, I need this. So it kind of just transitions that way. So just start out simple and see where it takes you. It's better off to do it that way than to like buy the best of everything and then find out you're really not interested in making those recipes anyway. So blenders are anywhere from like $30 up to, oh gosh, they could probably go up to 1,000. I don't know if you purchase one of the really nice high-speed blenders. During the challenge, I'll be talking more in detail about how to choose your juicers and blenders and give a lot more information about that. So, hey, I'm so excited that so many of you are signing up for the challenge. I think that's great that you guys are planning ahead like that. And by the way, if you've signed up, we're going to start letting people in the group on Monday, because we will start posting and getting you guys ready on Monday. So if you're planning on doing it, please sign up as soon as you can, so you can be in at the beginning on all the homework assignments and all our tips and tricks on how to get prepared. All right, let's talk about shopping. Who doesn't love shopping, right? Okay, so most of your shopping is going to be done in the produce section. For the most part, I don't even see the rest of the store. I'm only in the produce. I mean, if I have to get something like, you know, Kleenex, toilet paper, or something like that, I'll be in the rest of the part of the store. We do go to the frozen section too, because we get frozen fruit. So most things I buy organic. And again, you guys, it really depends on where you're at, what your local stores have. It depends on your budget. I understand organic can be so expensive. So just do your best, really, but don't let it stop you if you can't buy organic, because it's still better than eating the other things you could be eating. You just want to clean your food really well. And I'm going to be explaining how to do that also in the challenge. So some things I can't get organic, and so I go ahead and buy them. Watermelon is probably the one thing that we buy that we cannot get organic in our area, but it still has done a great job detoxing me. So, and I understand I could be getting some pesticides in me, but I'm not going to focus on that. I'm not going to worry about it. I stay happy. I do great detoxing. All right, so I recommend buying non-GMO organic fruits and vegetables that are in season as much as possible. I know it's almost impossible to get anything in season right now, but you know, when spring and summer hits, then there'll be a lot of things in season. So I kind of look at my recipes or my smoothies and think, that looks good. There's some cherries. I think I'm going to use those. So just keep your eyes open for what's in season and enjoy those things, because they taste better. They're more nutritious when they're in season. All right, so if you can't buy organic, I recommend to do an internet search for the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen list. Okay, do you get that? It's called the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen list. And it lists the recommended non-organic fruits and vegetables. And it tells you the ones that you absolutely want to stay away from, because I know things like strawberries are always high in pesticides. So just kind of want to become aware of that. And when talking about the genetically modified fruits and vegetables, definitely want to stay away from corn and squash. Like I never buy zucchini that is not organic, because those it would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to find something that is in those two that is non-GMO. So, okay, so when buying some dried items such as sun-dried tomatoes, dried cranberries, take a look at the label. You want to make sure they don't have added salt, oils, or sugar. I get my cranberries that it's actually been sweetened in apple juice. I think that's pretty cool. But you really have to pay attention to those labels, guys. All right. So you want to buy ripe as much as possible. And like Lucas said, you can keep most things on the counter because a lot of fruits ripen on the counter. Things like mangoes, avocados, tomatoes, bananas. And when you're choosing those things, what you want to do is just give it a little squeeze, of course, not too hard. They should feel soft but not, squishy. I know sometimes my husband's come home from the store and he's gotten an avocado and I feel it. I'm like, oh no, it's way overdone. And of course you open it, and it's kind of brownish black or whatever. So, all right. And so fruits like cucumbers, apples, pears, zucchinis, those should be firm. If you get like a cucumber and it feels squishy, just don't get it. It's not worth it. It's already too far gone. They should not be soft, wrinkled, or bruised. So you really have to learn to judge the produce not only by how it looks, how it feels and smells. That's so important. Some things you cannot smell, but things like pineapple, you can kind of judge if they're too far gone or they're not ripe enough at all, or they're just right. So, all right, some of the fruits that don't ripen after picking are grapes, oranges, grapefruit, lemons, limes, coconuts, and cherries. And pineapples are one of the fruits that don't ripen after picking. They say they just deteriorate, actually. So you want to stay away from green pineapples. All right. So one thing that can really help in cost is buying the fruit and veggies, more fruit probably in bulk. Some of the grocery store managers at your local store are helpful and they'll go ahead and let you order like a whole case of oranges. I know I have some friends that they have a local store that allows them to do that. Mine does not. I wish it did, but we do have a Costco and, those things come in bigger packages. I buy my dates there. I always get my dates at Costco. They have the nice big plump dates there and there's quite a few in the box for a good price. Watermelon are great at Costco. And it really just depends on your area. We get our oranges, our organic oranges at Walmart. And gosh, it just really depends on your store. We end up usually shopping at our local grocery store, a Walmart, and a Costco to get everything. All right, so let's go on to having the food on hand and ready. This is such an important topic, you guys, because it's so important to always have food on hand. Preparation is key. Planning is key when you are going raw. Why? Well, what happens if we get hungry and we don't have anything there? We are going to be tempted to eat something we shouldn't be eating or go out and pick something up, right? Do you guys do this? I know I'm tempted. I don't do it because we're really, really careful about having our food handy, but we don't always get it right. So sometimes we're rushing off to the store early in the morning. All right, so daily store runs aren't uncommon at our house because I'm always, usually, unless I'm on a fast, doing recipes. But it's just important to plan ahead what you're fixing for the week because produce doesn't last longer than like 3 to 5 days, depending on what it is. So at the very least, I plan on going to the store at least twice a week. And if you focus more on simple fruits and veggie meals, you'll probably only have to go, you won't have to go to the store quite as much. It's easier to buy in bulk and your shopping list is short, right, Luca? I
Exactly.
recommend, yeah. I recommend when you're just starting, and especially when you're going on a more intense detox, it's really best in the beginning to keep it simple. And that way you're keeping your shopping list simple and your preparation is short and simple. And then you can, you know, as you get comfortable with that, then you can expand out a little bit if that's what you choose to do. Because I recommend not taking on too much at once. So maybe like the first month you learn how to make a smoothie and you learn to make juices. And then next month you're like, I want to learn to use a spiralizer. And the next month I want to learn to use a food processor. So just don't put too much on yourself at once. But the really cool thing is during our challenge, every day you're going to see me making recipes. And as I'm doing that, I'm explaining how to use all these different pieces of equipment. So it really makes it much, much easier for you to have a demonstration like that. All right. So a lot of you probably won't even go further than making smoothies and salads and juices, and that's great. I mean, that's probably even better for our health and getting into the more involved recipes, but it really is just what you want to do. As Lucas said yesterday, we are always detoxing when we're on raw food. It's just that we choose which food we want to use according to how much we want to detox. We're in control of that. If we want to detox intensely, then we're going to do all juice. If we're like, hey, I'm going to take a little break, slow it down, hey, then I'm going to fix myself some raw brownies. Yeah, I have brownies in my book. They're made of raw sprouted nuts and cacao, and they are good. So as we said, there's really no right or wrong. It just depends on how fast you want to go, what your lifestyle is. Luca likes to keep it simple, and I love making gourmet raw recipes. It's really up to you. But I do want to talk about my recipe book a little bit. A lot of you have that already. As I said, the beginning is filled with helpful instructions. I really designed the book for anyone from a beginner to a more advanced raw chef to be able to pick it up and know how to fix my recipes. There's quick and easy recipes like smoothies, juices, and fruit only. Excuse me. And then once you feel like you've accomplished those, you can move into something more involved. But really, all of the recipes are easy. It's just taking the steps. There's just more steps if they're more involved. You know, for me, it's so much fun to make raw food. I've never had more fun making food. And I used to like to bake. I used to like to cook, but somewhat, but nothing like the joy I find in making raw food recipes. And ladies, I want to say to you, so many of you talk about, you know, not being able to get your husbands on board on this raw food journey. If you want to get your husband on board, make some of my recipes. Seriously, that's what won my husband over. Tacos and brownies and pizza and all that. I mean, they can't resist, seriously. And they are delicious. So I'm going to give you one more suggestion about having the food on hand. It's really helpful, like Lucas said, to have the ripe fruit available, and then the frozen fruit for smoothies. And then for us, we make sure we always have juice in the house, because if you're hungry, you can always drink juice and that'll take care of that hunger. So when we get up in the morning, one of the very first things we do is to make juice for our day. All right, so as I said, during the challenge, we'll be talking about how to clean the produce and how to travel on a raw food diet. So our actionable step for today is to start taking a look at your recipe, maybe if you have the recipe book, or look at your lifestyle and decide, what is it? What would I ultimately want to do as far as a raw food journey? Do I want to keep it simple, or do I want to make more involved recipes? And from there, you can start planning your equipment list. How does that sound? Would you like to start figuring that out? That's the number one step. And then when we go into the challenge here in a couple of weeks, we're going to go further with you know, how to prepare ourselves and how to get the equipment and all that. All right, Luca, you feel up to taking a question this morning?
Yes, of course.
Okay, someone asked us yesterday, does it matter if it's juice first thing in the morning or if it's fruits in the morning? Does it make any difference? Is the juice more cleansing for the body in the morning after the sleep fast? Same in the afternoon? Is it salad first and after juice, or juice after salad? Okay, let's get this
Let
squared away.
let's get this one question at a time so I can answer one
Okay.
by one, because I already forgot the first one when you said the third one.
Sorry. Okay. Does it matter if juice is first thing in the morning or if it's fruits in the morning? Does it make any difference?
Well, it makes a difference, but in health-wise, it doesn't really matter, but it makes a difference because the juice doesn't have fiber. So the juice actually wouldn't stop the fast. It would technically, if we look at the very, very small details, but it would actually still, it wouldn't wake up the digestive system. It would continue being in a so-called fast, let's say like that. But when we eat fruits, well, solid fruits, then we introduce fiber and we start to wake up our digestion, and the body starts to eliminate what it has pulled out or stirred up during the night's fast. So both options are awesome. It just depends on what actually you want to do, whether you want to juice first or solid foods first.
Okay, great. And you kind of answered the second part. Let me go on to the next
Okay.
one. Same in the afternoon. Is it salad first and after juice, or juice and salad after some time? I'm not really sure exactly what she's asking.
I'm not sure as well, but I believe the answer is just make sure that the juice that you're consuming is consumed either 1 hour before the salad or after the salad.
Okay.
That's about it.
Yeah, great answer. Okay, I'm just looking at a few more questions here. Mariana wants to know what your typical day looks like, what you eat, because I know you exercise a lot. Great question.
Who's the like who is she asking, you or me?
You,
Oh,
Lucas.
me.
Yeah.
Well, my typical day, I don't have a typical day, but let's say the if I'm not fasting, every single day I have a smoothie. That's the first thing that I consume, and that's usually around 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. Something like that, something in that time. It's my first meal, and my second meal, if I'm not fasting, obviously, is usually around 6 or 7 p.m. And it's either another smoothie, or it's a raw meal, or it's a cooked or steamed meal of vegetables. So it's definitely depends on the day, depends on how much I am also exercising, how much I'm how much clients do I have, how much work I have. So it really depends on my schedule, because sometimes if I have a lot of work to do, I just fast because I'm not really hungry in those moments. I process a lot of energy. I do a lot of things, and it just sleeps me somehow. It like numbs me up a bit, and I want to be as focused and aware as possible. So I just don't eat at all. But when I do a lot of exercising, when I do a lot of that, then I definitely consume smoothies, juices. I hydrate myself a lot, and then I eat something very light, or if it's a bit more dense meal, then I eat a smaller one.
Okay, great. Thank you. This is what I do when I'm busy. I just juice my way through the day. It gives me lots of energy. All right, just a few more. Amy had a great suggestion. She uses a pillowcase for spinning her greens. Woohoo! So it gives her great exercises. I've never heard that. That's awesome. And she says doing the homework is key to success during the challenges. Um, don't be an observer, participate. Yes, I love that. Okay, let's see. Amy says fasting is a great option if you've run out of food. So, so true.
That's what I do.
Um,
If
Joanne
I
said
get
she,
hungry outside, and I have nothing on hand, I'm just like, oh, well, it's time to fast. And
yep,
that's it.
it's all the mindset.
But the people need to get to that point first, because otherwise the cravings will be stronger. But don't allow them to be stronger, because you need to understand that you're not really hungry at that point. You're not. Your mind is, your stomach is not really hungry.
All right. Joanne said she made the Waldorf salad last night. Delicious. So many people are making that here lately. I need to make that again out of my recipe book. She said, do you keep anything on hand in the freezer like wraps or burgers? Oh my goodness, I sure do. And that's one thing we're going to be talking about in the challenge is food storage. But definitely when I make my recipes, dressings, anything that goes like meat based, nut based, like the tacos and things like that, wraps, breads, all of those things can go in the freezer. So it makes for a fast meal later. I don't put zucchini in the freezer. It doesn't freeze well. And I don't usually do guacamole or salsa. And that's just me. I don't like the change in the texture when it's done. But everything else, that's what I love about raw food. It's so easy to freeze. And then you just take it out of the freezer. Say I made the basil marinara sauce for my butt, and I make a double batch and I freeze it, and say we have a busy day. Oh, I have that in the freezer. I just come home and I grab it out. And by the time I've made my spiralized my zucchini, chopped up some peppers and so forth to go in it, and shoot, it's almost defrosted by then. So it makes it so easy. So yeah, definitely. Thanks for that reminder, Beth. I didn't talk about that, but I will on the challenge. It's something we're going to really go into in detail. Beth wants to know, can you explain what eat melons alone or leave them alone means? Luca?
That means that when you eat any type of melon, you eat only the melon or drink only that melon. You don't mix melons with any other type of fruit or any other type of food, because it digests the quickest, and you don't want to be mixing it with anything else.
Okay. And then Tina wants to know if you dry fast. We've talked about this in the previous days, so you probably want to go back and review. Do you remember what day that was, Luca? Was it the first day we
What?
talked about dry fasting?
I don't know which day it was, actually.
Yeah, but we both dry fast. We both
Yeah.
intermittent fast for sure. Luca is the king of dry fasting. He's gone how many days? Like 5 days dry fasting?
Yeah, that's my record, yeah.
That's awesome. And again, dry fasting is no food, no water. Some people don't even take showers or brush their teeth. So that way there is like nothing going into your body. So your body can get busy cleaning things up, because digestion takes a lot of energy, the majority of energy in our body. And so once we aren't using that energy to digest food, then our body and our cells really get to work and do that cleanup, repair, and rejuvenation. It's pretty awesome. All right, Amy says Kim's dressings into ice cube trays. What a great idea. It'd be, I don't know, I eat a lot at a time. I put tons of dressing on my food because I like the dressing. Let's see, but it'd be great for dipping for sure. All right. Here we go. Well, I think we are at the end of today. We've gone over for sure. And oh, good point, Barbara. She says, if you're just getting started, don't let yourself get hungry. That is so true, you guys. It's easy if you don't get hungry, because if you gotten hungry, then you're almost to the point where you're starting to crave things. So you don't want to do that. So tomorrow we're going to talk about how to make this a sustainable lifestyle. And you can. Luca and I he's 3.5 years in, I'm 2.5 years in, and I've talked to so many people who are 20, 30, 40 years in. So it's really, really awesome. All right, Amy has one more question. Is it enough to eat the quickest digesting foods first, like melons, or do we need to leave an hour before?
Can you repeat that question? I'm
Yeah,
not sure if I
Luca, is it
understood
enough?
correctly.
Sure. Is it enough to eat the quickest digesting foods first, like melons, or do we need to leave an hour before or after, and why?
I still don't understand. Like
I think
when you
she's
eat
saying
the
the quick,
melon,
yeah, that they're quickest to digest. So should we eat those first?
well, if you want to eat melons, then yeah, then always eat them first. But if you're eating them later on, just make sure that you have 1 hour before or after, and that's
Okay,
it.
great. We don't just, it's important not to get into analyzing any of this too much, you guys.
Yeah,
Just enjoy it, and do your best and leave the rest. That's what I say, and be
yeah,
happy
like
and feel
just do
great.
your best, and whenever you're well, like whenever you're doing liquids or solids, like just make sure that you're like at least 30 to 1 hour before or after drinking liquids, before or after meals, solid meals. But other than that, like for the first thing in your day, you can start with whatever, and it would be definitely the best if at your place there are melons, because at this place there are no melons, only on summer. So if you have melons, definitely use them whenever you can and enjoy them as much as you can.
All right. Excellent talk today. Thanks for all your interaction, your questions, and your comments. We really appreciate it. Meet us back here, same time, same place. Thank you, Luca, for all your good information. And we will talk to you all tomorrow.
Thank you
Bye.
guys, and thank you, Kim.
All
Bye. See
right.
you
Bye
tomorrow.
bye. Bye, everybody.